Okay, it's time for another episode of the Friday Show, only on the Edmondson Voice, and coming to you actually on Thursday. It's a sneak peek of the Friday Show.
Live.
Yeah, this is the first time we're doing this live. So, platform, we're using both platforms today, YouTube and Facebook. So we appreciate everybody that is watching. And one of the good parts about having the show available on a couple different platforms is you can watch it whenever. You don't have to watch it right now live.
Right.
So some people were getting some really positive feedback. Some people are watching it, on Friday when we put out the show. Some people are watching it Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all days of the week, Jamie.
8 days a week.
8 days. I'm your co-host, Darren Doyle, and alongside of me, Jamie Carnes. Nice to see you, Jamie.
Good to be here, Darren.
Nice T-shirt, by the way.
Thank you. I thought it appropriate for some of our discussion today.
Definitely. The Friday Show, episode 4, for Friday, July the 28th, although we're going live here tonight on the 27th. And, we may do this from now on. We may actually go live on Thursday afternoon and then have it readily available on all of our platforms, of course, on Friday and through forever. That's the good part, kind of about having an internet platform. You can kind of do whatever you want.
Yes.
So, with that being said, Friday show's only on the Edmondson Voice, brought to you by Alfred's Pharmacy and Drive-Thru, located in the Main Street Center. Call 270-597-1044. Find them on Facebook or visit alfordsrx.com. And, man, I don't know if you've been outside today.
It's a little warm.
Yikes. So, our friends over at Weather or Not BG, Landon Hampton and his weather network, of course, we've been affiliated with their weather folks for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years at least, I guess now.
Landon's the fellow that does the broadcast on the Edmondson Voice.
Right.
With the forecast.
He's our meteorologist every
Yes.
morning, does a forecast. And he was putting out the heat. It's not indexes. What's that word? What's index? That's plural. Indices?
Yes,
Heat
I would think so.
indices. Anyway, I love what Landon does with the network on social media. He posted this just a couple of hours ago. The heat indices as of 1 p.m. today. Of course, we're going on. It's a little bit before 4 o'clock right now. Warren County, 106. Allen County, 104. Barron, 103. Butler, 109. Logan, 105. Simpson County, 103. It's 108 here in Edmondson County.
Now, the heat index is what it feels
what
like
it feels
outside.
And it feels like somebody has hit me in the face with a wet blanket that's on fire. In case you've ever been hit in the face with a wet blanket that's on fire, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or you could just go outside.
That's an image right there.
Because it's definitely hot. So I was going to, come up with some joke like it's hotter than a blah, 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 blah. But, I don't know. There's really nothing that came to mind because you could go 1,000 different directions. Did you see? I saw this week where, of course, these crazy heat waves they're going to cancel the planet. Of course, we're doomed.
Yes.
If mankind lasts for another week, we'll just be fortunate.
Been doomed since birth, Darren.
So, but it's hot everywhere.
Yes.
And in somewhere in Arizona, some dude took a cast iron skillet, put it out on the sidewalk. Now, I don't know how long he left it there, but he left it out in the sun and in the heat. And, of course, it's 100 million degrees in Arizona.
That's dry heat, son.
Right. So he has this cast iron skillet, and he cooks eggs in it, just sitting on the sidewalk. So that's hot stuff.
It's plenty warm.
Yeah. So did you get into anything this week that's
nothing much
interesting?
New to speak of. Just taking care of some things at the house and trying to trying to keep the old cars up a little bit, doing
Yeah.
a little work here and there to them.
Right. That's fun stuff.
Yep.
Is there air conditioner in your shop, by the way?
There is not. There are some fans. I keep those on and try to lift a door when necessary. But you can get a little air moving. It's not too bad, but it is stuffy.
Well, speaking of what you did outside today, Barbara Fitzhugh, our friend out at St. John's, she's chiming in already. She's watching us live.
Oh,
She
glad to
says
have you, Barbara.
they did food distribution today at Klebiet Park, and it was grueling. I can imagine it was.
I'm sure. Yes.
So it was funny because I was thinking about this today. Back a few years ago, it was wintertime and it was like below zero, and the TV station, well, I'm just going to say it's WBKO. They had this special on, what it's like to work out here in the cold, and this kind of stuff. Coming up at 6, don't miss it or whatever. And the first person they interview is it's a girl working the drive-in window at Wendy's. And I'm like, there are people out here that are busting their hump, that are digging ditches and, having to work outside in this stuff. And the first person you're going to interview is some girl that opens a window occasionally.
Yeah. That's. Well, I'm sure that's tough at times. When it's.
Well, no doubt. I
When
don't
it's
want to take anything
cold,
away from
but-
them. Of course, it's going to be uncomfortable and tough to deal with. But I mean, that's going to be your first choice. It's kind of like today on the opposite end. I used to work, contractor work. Used to work construction, and days like this was tough, man.
No fun. Yeah, that's for sure.
In fact, I came through Brownsville earlier today, and I saw blacktopping crew.
Yeah, that's
These
that's hot.
okay. There's two crews that, you got to be a special kind of tough.
Roofing's the other one.
Roofing, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
These roofing crews that are up on these roofs during this kind of heat, man.
There was
My
a
hats are
song,
off
wasn't
to
it,
you.
up on the roof
Something like that.
years ago?
But seriously, appreciate you guys out there.
Yeah.
All of our utility workers, the folks that are out in this stuff, man. Hope you're taking care of yourself.
Hydrate.
Definitely. And I'm so thirsty. I'm drinking ice water here on the air. I'll try not to slurp too bad into the microphone. But so yeah, that's what's going on today. It's hot, hotter than heck. So by the way, chime in on whatever platform that you're watching the Friday show, whether it's Facebook or whether it's YouTube. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you're doing. Hey, if you were out here in this heat today, tell us what you got into. Tell us, hopefully you're okay. So just don't tell us how bad we are on the air. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Reserve those comments for later.
Yeah. And I want to say we're getting some really positive feedback from the show. People, they've got different things to say. We try to cover a range of topics. We got an interesting email, and I won't say who it's from, because she didn't really. I didn't ask permission. She didn't give us permission, so I don't want to give the name away. But it was a really nice email. She sent an email, and she enjoyed the show. She watched our live streams on the ball games, and she was talking about the transgender issue with Budweiser and that whole marketing thing that we talked about a couple of episodes ago. And
Knowing your core audience.
yeah, knowing your core audience.
Yep.
That was the topic of the day. And of course, what we focused on was we know these companies know exactly who they're selling their stuff to and why they would do anything purposely against that core group of people is mind-boggling. And that was the discussion.
Yes.
Obviously, Bud Light was in that discussion. They chose, to make a transgender person the face of one of their marketing campaigns. Well, obviously that backfired, hugely. The whole point was Budweiser knew exactly. They still know exactly today who is purchasing their product. That millions of dollars a year are spent on research.
More specifically now, who isn't purchasing
That's
the product.
exactly right.
I heard this morning they're still hemorrhaging money over
Absolutely.
or for some reason, and I'm sure it's tied to that, but they are still losing quite a bit of money over that.
Well, the email was like, you know what? I'm not really here. I don't want to send an email to tell you what you can and can't talk about, but personally, I would like to see more visibility of transgender people, and she had a couple. Well, she had different reasons for it, and you know, she just said, I just wanted to share my thoughts with you. And you know, I may disagree with her personal outlook on whatever subject, and the same as all of you guys that are watching. The great thing is, and this is what I really appreciated about her, it was a very respectful email.
Yes.
You know, it was just like, hey, I just want to let you know, I'm watching your show. I hear your take on it. Now, to be fair, I want to point this out. The segment wasn't pro or against transgenderism. That's not what this show is. We don't really want to take any polarizing stances on anything. This show is for entertainment purposes, number one. I mean, yeah, we're going to talk about some informative stuff here and there, but for the most part, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be stupid for the most part, a lot of it, because we're going to laugh, and we hope you laugh with us. But whether or not you agree or disagree with anything, the email that she sent was very well done, and we're getting to a point in society that, Jamie, if you disagree with a point that I've made or a stance that I make, then all of a sudden we're not friends anymore. You hate me, I hate you. It's all the way to the right or all the way to the left. There's nothing in between. And, you know, there's no civil discussion anymore.
Right. We're losing a lot of that, and I don't really understand why. It's just that I think it's the whole thing, or a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're bringing up a generation of folks that all got trophies, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about me, not necessarily about what anybody else is thinking. If you don't agree with me, then you're wrong, and you must be stopped and canceled and shut out.
Yeah, and everything that you say from now on is stupid and a lie, and you hate, and you know. And I mean, man, our country as a whole can't get anywhere if everybody on this side refuses to listen, and everybody on this side refuses to listen. At some point, you know, I don't know.
Nothing good can come out of that. I mean,
of course not.
It's just going to create chaos and people breaking rules left and right because they think the law doesn't apply to them or what. You know, there's lots of scenarios that go on, but people really need to be able to agree to disagree about things, and you know, whoever has the majority of opinion, then that's probably the way we should go.
Yeah, and you know, like I said. What I'm saying is this lady's email was very, very well done, very respectful, and you know, there was a lot of things in her email that personally I do disagree with, but that's okay. I'm not trying to cram what my opinion is down her throat, and she certainly wasn't doing that, you know, when she sent the email.
Well, not everybody that tunes in watches this show or watches one of our live streams of the ball games. I mean, nobody all believes the same thing. Now,
sure.
we can have common ground for ball games and things
and
like that.
A lot of things here. Right.
But I wouldn't expect anybody to agree 100% with everything I say. I mean, that's just not the way it works. And there's a reason that we have the First Amendment here, and this country has the Constitution, and it's worked really, really well for a long, long time. And you know, if we think about that it really works better than any other system I know about. So
definitely,
definitely. What else you got?
And it's worked well for a long, long time. So anyway, like I said, be sure to send us your emails, editor@edmondsonvoice.com. You can send us messages on our social media, and we'll talk about, we'll remind you of what those are a little bit later in the show as we sign off. But, of course, you know, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter.
We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. And so, like I said, we appreciate that email.
If you got any ideas for the show, let us know. I mean, we're just kind of winging it here and talking about what we like to talk about.
And that's a good point, Jamie. I'm going to add something. We've already gotten some feedback that's something I want to add to the show. Obviously, you and I talked a little bit about this yesterday. We've had knowing your core audience. Okay, that goes back to a couple episodes ago. The majority of the audience for the Edmondson Voice is female. Okay, maybe that's a surprise to some people. Maybe it's not. I don't know, but
I wouldn't have guessed that. But
now I'm talking about those numbers come from our Facebook statistics.
Yeah,
We can find, we can see who those followers are. And almost 70% of the Edmondson Voice Facebook users, which makes up a large portion of our audience as a whole, are female. So instead of a couple of guys just sitting here talking about Bon Jovi, Harrison Ford, and all the other people we have man crushes on.
Sanford and Son,
Yeah.
and all those kinds of things.
And
We haven't talked about Sanford and Son yet, though.
not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. What we're going to do is at least once a month, we're going to bring in a female guest, and we're just going to put her in the hot seat right over here. And we're just going to we're going to talk about the same stuff we always talk about, same segments, but we're going to offer a female perspective.
Let her bring a topic she wants to discuss.
Absolutely.
And see what happens.
Right. And I don't know. She may get mad and walk out, whoever she is.
Well, we hope not.
I actually talked to Debbie last night, my wife. I said,
Would you like to do it?
Would you be interested in being she was like, what are you talking about? She's not really a camera hog person. She likes to kind of stay out of the spotlight, of course. But I was like, yeah, I'm serious. Just come on. And she's like, oh, well, I got plenty to say.
Well,
I'm like, well, okay.
Here's a mic.
So who knows? Maybe she'll be on the show, but we don't want to give it away of maybe who might be on the show coming up. But hopefully, I don't know. We may shoot for the next episode having our first female guest on the Friday show, but we'll see. So moving on, our next segment is people really like this odd headlines from around the nation. There's some dandies in here on some articles that I have read over the past week. This was a really interesting magazine article. It was published in the Smithsonian, and I'm not going to read the whole article, but here is the headline. The headline says, "Why did Van Halen demand concert venues remove brown M&Ms from the menu?"
I know the answer to that one.
So I had heard this before, but I'd never really read into it. And this was published by Doug Mack and the Snack Stack for the Smithsonian.
Pretty sharp, if what I'm believing to be correct is
Very
true.
much. Very, very good idea here. And an investigation of the rock band's unusual concert writer suggests the stipulation was a savvy marketing move. Well, turns out that these big bands, a concert writer is all of the stipulations in a contract when they're booked at a venue. Okay, we're going to come and we're going to do this concert for you. Here's what we're going to provide, and this is what you're going to provide. And some of those things can be ridiculous. Some musical artists request some pretty crazy things.
Yeah,
okay?
I can imagine.
Yes. Well, in Van Halen's concert writer, it specifically stated no brown M&Ms. They requested M&Ms in a dish, but all the brown ones had to be removed. Now, if you just take that for what it is on the surface, you're like, man, these guys.
What kind of prima donnas are these
This
guys?
is ridiculous, okay? But that's not what it was. And the purpose of that, if they came in their dressing room and they saw the M&Ms and they saw brown ones in there, they knew that they didn't read the concert writer in full. And there were very specific, like, power requirements, stage dimensions that they needed. Well, number one, for safety purposes. I don't know if you ever saw David Lee Roth. He doesn't stand in one spot.
Or you've got to push sound to, 50,000 people.
At least.
And you have to have certain electrical
Exactly.
and power requirements to do
safety
that.
requirements and,
Lighting rigs,
whatever.
whatever.
Without a net.
Yes.
Van Halen.
Live without a
Live
net.
without a net. Yeah, right.
That was Van Hagar, though, right?
Yeah, it was. But anyway, a pretty savvy move by the band. And, once they saw that the brown M&Ms were in the dish, they knew, obviously, there could be other things out of the writer that were not in there.
I want to have the road manager start looking for other things
Yeah.
that were missed by the folks that doing the contract.
So that was interesting. Like I said, I'm not going to read that article. I just wanted to just mention that because I found that to be very interesting. Of course, both of us are Van Halen fans, music fans, and So this is a one. This is an article that was published in the Mirror. This was written by Paige Freshwater. The headline says this: "Neighbors went skinny dipping in my pool without permission, so I got revenge." A man has taken to social media to share how he got revenge on his entitled neighbors who kept using his swimming pool and hot tub when he wasn't home to stop them.
What do you do? Put snapping turtles in the pool?
So it says a man was outraged after his neighbors threw a mini party in his swimming pool with nudity and underage drinking. He explained how his neighbor, a mom with 2 teenage children, kept breaking into his property to use his swimming pool and hot tub. Despite asking them to stop, the family claimed it was their right to use his facilities because it's the neighborly thing to do. Taking to Reddit, he said, "I bought my first house 12 years ago. It was in a low, middle-class neighborhood with a lot of working-class families. My house had a pool in the backyard, and my parents bought me and my wife a hot tub as a wedding housewarming gift. 2 weeks after moving in, we found a stranger and 6 teenage kids swimming in our pool when we got home." Now, it went on to say that there was a disagreement, and he asked them to stop, and, all this and that.
I hear that's called trespassing in some
Some
places.
people call it trespassing. I
Yes.
think law enforcement officers would call it trespassing.
And where is this now?
This is somewhere in Great Britain. This is
Oh, okay.
This is overseas. Okay. So the man says, "She told me that if they died of a heat stroke, it was my fault for not letting them swim in my pool. I told her to get the bleep off my property and never return. But the family got crafty and started using his pool when he wasn't home or was already asleep for the night." And he said, "I started to notice when I woke up in the morning that there was evidence of people using my pool and the hot tub at night when we were asleep or away. He found beer cans, cigarette butts, and even other used items that we won't go into. I figured it has to be an entitled mom or her brats, so I installed cameras on the grounds and started videotaping. Sure enough, I caught the entitled mom and a few others hanging out in my pool Friday nights when my wife and I were out." So, going to read on down a little bit where he's got the camera set up. With that, he and his wife parked down the road from their house the following Friday night, giving the illusion they weren't home. They set their cameras up to record and waited to see whether their neighbors would fall into the trap. The daughter and I assume, which was her boyfriend, the son, and I assume his girlfriend, and 4 other teen couples come right over and start skinny dipping in the pool and hot tub. They have beer, and I can smell the weed from inside the house. I wait 45 minutes for them to get really into their fun, and 2 are actually doing really inappropriate things, and then I sprung my trap. He stormed outside and started shouting at them while his wife turned on the back lights and called the police. They all have the deer in the headlights look on their faces, and not one of them tries to speak for a good minute," he said. He then proceeds to grab all of their clothes. Everyone that is in the pool, the man steals their clothes, and he says, "Not being a total jerk, I say that I'll throw them all their clothing. I then walk over to their piles of clothes, phones, and purses and throw everything into the pool. They freak out trying to save their phones and other goods, and after 10 minutes, the police show up, and they have the kids climb out of the pool wearing their soaked clothes and trying to shake their phones dry." And they were cited for trespassing and had to walk home, the walk of shame, with soaking wet clothes.
I'm sure he'll get billed for the ruined
ruined
cell phones.
right? But pretty good
Not bad.
gouge.
I still like the idea of snapping turtles in the pool.
That'd be pretty good.
How about a couple of Rottweilers next to the pool?
Just turn one alligator loose in there at night. You slip in the pool.
That would be a
everything's-
surprise.
Look out! Hey-o.
What's that, Derry? I don't know, but it's got me.
So, anyway, here's another one from the New York Post. This was written by Alyssa Guzman, published this week. Lowe's worker fired after getting a black eye trying to stop thieves. Fired her.
Okay.
A Georgia Lowe's employee attempted to stop shoplifters making off with $2,100 worth of merchandise, leaving her unemployed and with a black eye. Donna Hansborough, age 68, saw 3 people loading up a shopping cart in a store in Rincon, about 30 minutes north of Savannah. I don't know if that's Rincon or Rincon. and then leave without stopping to pay, the police said. The veteran employee then grabbed onto the cart, allegedly being pushed by Takya Berry, who slugged the older woman in the face 3 times, according to authorities.
Takya Berry.
Yep. Berry, who was with her uncle Joseph Berry, and another man police identified as Jarmar Lawton, then made off with the goods, the Rincon Police Department said in a news release. Hansborough was then canned from her job of 13 years for violating company policy by interfering with the crooks, according to a report.
So it's against company policy to interfere with shoplifters?
Yes, apparently. Lowe's has a policy. Now,
do they have loss prevention people at all, I wonder?
I don't know. But this poor
That's
lady,
odd.
13 years.
I bet somebody
Worked
else
at the place for 13 years, man.
somebody else would hire her.
So, hopefully she gets her.
Maybe a security company would hire her.
Maybe. I'd say she.
Maybe she should start her own security company.
Right. Right.
She'd have a job over there in Great Britain with that pool.
So, here's an interesting story. Miranda Lambert, back in the news. She apparently.
Now, a couple of her hit songs. Do you happen to know?
I can't.
I know the name, but I can't think of.
Same. I mean, she's got hits, all kinds of hits. Now, before I read this story here, I do want to mention back in the dryland fish days. We still have several dryland fish fans in Edmonson County. Miranda Lambert and Dryland Fish, we had the same manager, and we did shows together back in the early 2000s. We did not a bunch, but we did a few shows together in Nashville. She was just as unknown as we were. I will admit that I didn't see the big deal. She even sent us, she actually gave us a whole CD of demos that she wanted us to consider recording. And I thought, man, this girl.
That's pretty cool.
I said, this girl here, ain't nobody going to listen to this girl. Ain't nobody cares.
You still have that CD?
No, I threw it out the window.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how much I knew about the music business in 2002, Jamie. So, and I'll tell you a funny Miranda Lambert story here in just a moment, but I want to say Miranda Lambert, this is in Fox News, Miranda Lambert destroying fans' beach ball mid-concert resurfaces as singer is labeled entitled. This is written by Lauren Overholtz for Fox News. Video of country music star Miranda Lambert is resurfaced as the singer deals with backlash over her onstage behavior towards fans. Lambert, 39, went viral after a video showed her scolding a group of fans taking a selfie while enjoying her Vegas residency. The online backlash led to video of the Gunpowder and Lead singer popping a fan's beach ball in 2019 resurfacing. Quote from Lambert says, "I love y'all, but we're not at the daggum beach. We're singing country music tonight."
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so
they paid to get in, right?
So that's the whole point. That's why I think this storyline here is a bit ridiculous. Miranda Lambert has made millions of dollars,
Plural,
in the entertainment industry and is a country music artist. She has sold more records and downloads. There's no telling. And if somebody pays, especially if they're right there in front of you for those seats,
there's no telling how much they paid for those seats.
at least $1,500 a pop.
Probably.
If somebody pays that money to come in there, if they want to dance and do a Bozo the Clown skit, play your music and go on. I don't get that.
Yeah, it's really
Hollering at fans that are taking and I saw a little bit about this. These fans turned around, with their back to the stage with their phones up to get a photo of them and and Miranda in the shot. So
which is what anybody
Of
else paying
course.
$1,500 a throw for a seat is going to do
And
when they're at the concert.
she stops the concert and says, "Hey, what are y'all doing? We're playing music here. We're not taking pictures."
I would have recorded every second of that and posted it to social media. And I'd have turned around and said, "I'm shooting some pictures."
So I don't understand that. I do have a Miranda Lambert story that I'll share with you quickly. So Miranda, we were doing a venue. We were playing at a venue called the Exit Inn in Nashville.
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
So we played there one
Nice.
night, and I was in we had our own dressing room, and it was just two of us in there at the time. It was me and my buddy Jonathan Hodges, and we were just hanging out. And so we're in this dressing room, and Jonathan is on the phone to his girlfriend at the time, who's now his wife. Okay, keep in mind, this is 20 years ago.
Yes.
Somebody comes banging on the door. Okay, I open the door. It's Miranda Lambert. She is not acting just exactly right. Okay, I don't want to accuse her of anything. I'm just saying that
It's a little bit abnormal.
it was quite abnormal. Okay, and she was trying to come inside, and I said, "You cannot come in here." And she says, "I'm coming in here to party with you guys." I said, "No, you're not." And she says, "Yeah, I'm coming in, and we're going to party." And I said, "All right, time out. Okay, you need to go somewhere else." I said, "Do you see this guy behind me on the phone?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, he's on the phone right now, but when he gets off the phone, you can come back in here, and you can do anything you want to with him. But I'm out here." So I slammed the door, and so he gets off the phone, and he said, "Who? What was that?"
Did he look around like Scooby?
Yeah.
Huh?
I said,
When you were saying that?
"Miranda's coming back in here, and she's going to party with you when you get off the phone here with your girlfriend," which is, like I said, now his wife, and he has, 3 beautiful kids with her. But anyway, so we didn't talk to Miranda anymore during that particular night. She did her bit on stage, we did ours, and I joked. I was like, this girl's not going anywhere, and I stand corrected, Miranda. But
Sounds like she wouldn't have had a problem with a beach ball at that point, would she?
She probably had one. She probably had a beach ball at that point.
I get some things, I understand arguments for safety reasons and things like that. I mean, but you see a lot of beach balls going around at concerts. I mean, big stadium concerts
Right.
all the time.
Sure.
And it's just kind of a way for the crowd to, get involved with whatever's, kind of be doing something that's cool and everybody can see it. But why in the world would you have a problem with somebody taking a selfie of you on? I'd probably kneel down and get in the selfie and point at them while I'm singing.
Me too, man. I mean, I don't. I mean, look, I get it. I have, prior to getting into the media business, I was in the music business for several years, and it is frustrating when you're on stage and you're performing, and people don't seem to be paying attention. Okay, it is, because you're like, hey, I'm doing this. The least you could do is stop what you're doing. But at a concert, the whole purpose is to have fun.
Right.
They're there listening to your music. They're watching you so that you can perform, watching you perform. If a beach ball's flying around, I mean, that's just part of the...
Well, and it's one thing if you're playing in venues. I mean, you played to a lot more people than I have. I used to play a little live music too, but, not very many people ever paid to see me. And, we were sure we had people distracted at our shows too, because there was usually something else going on at the time. But, if they pay that kind of money to get in, I don't really know that. Why would I have a problem with what they're doing as far as being distracted?
It goes back
it's their
to
money.
It goes back to know your core audience.
Yes.
If your core audience is paying $1,500 a pop to come in here and take selfies with you, do it.
Take as many as you want.
Why do you think that you've been able to sell millions of records?
Right.
And
the same thing. I used to get mad when I'd see on the ticket or on the. There are still concerts that I go to that say no cameras. Well, why in the world? I'm paying all this money. Do you are you really selling a lot of professionally done posters now?
Well, so here's the thing on that, and I do have a little bit of info on that. My kids, actually, this week, they went to a concert. They went to see Greta Van Fleet.
Yes.
Okay. Really talented band.
Heard that they are remind people of Led Zeppelin.
Very
to some
Led
extent.
Zeppelin-ish, they're a rock band, man, just like you just cut them right out of 1970.
Yep, I've heard a little bit.
Very,
of
very
stuff.
talented group. They love the concert, and same deal, no cameras. Of course, everybody in the place has 2 cell phones, and they're taking pictures and all that. The purpose of the no camera bit is so you don't come in with a camera, like what we use here at The Voice with big zoom lenses, and then use those professional quality photos yourself. Sell them, market them,
Right.
put them on shirts.
My whole intent when if I brought years ago in the 90s when I had a Canon, one of those program. Oh,
Sure.
I forget what they were called, but they're a 35mm camera, pretty
Right.
nice little camera.
Nice camera.
But there was no way I was going to say. I wanted good pictures for me. I wanted to be able to show people pictures that, hey, here I went to see Night Ranger at Starwood Amphitheater.
Yep.
And here's my pictures.
Yeah. Here's the proof.
Yes.
No.
And but I couldn't do that. All I could, and that really stunk for me because I wanted to have something. I love keeping keepsakes.
Sure.
And
Right.
that just was a shame to me. All that stuff.
Anyway, that's Miranda. Yeah, she sold a lot more records than I have. Maybe I should have listened. I mean, I'm not saying that we should have let her come in and party with us. Our partying at that point consisted of, dipping some snuff and
Filling the RC bottle of peanuts.
pretty much that was the extent of our
You might
partying.
have a more interesting story if she had entered the room. Don't
Well,
know if it'd be one you could tell many people, but
That's we better just move on.
Yes.
To the next segment. So today's topic, we're going to go something. We're going to do a little something different. The last few episodes of the Friday show, we've been, we've brought a topic of discussion that usually is, that you may find in maybe news headlines, recent news headlines, or something that's got everybody buzzing, talking, whatever. But we're gonna go a little bit different route today. Instead of one of those topics, I thought it would be cool to get some of our old junk out of the closet. Now, if you go in my office, just in the next room here, my office, it's not your typical office. Most people's offices, it's in a place of business where there are multiple offices. Mine's a little different. It's here in a recording studio. And so it's a little eclectic. I've got different things all over the walls and on shelves. A lot of it is old toys that I had as a kid and vintage toys, all kinds of stuff. And I thought it'd be cool to get some of this stuff out. And, of course, I asked Jamie if he would bring a couple things from home. And so the first thing I grabbed off the shelf is, you'll see this here in the shot. This is the Millennium Falcon.
man, that thing made the Kessel run in 12 parsecs.
12 parsecs, man. Okay, so this is an original Millennium Falcon. I got this Millennium Falcon for my 5th birthday. It was one of the greatest birthdays of my life. I mean,
That's a great toy.
most of the parts are still intact. Okay, and because all these parts are I mean, a lot of these parts are removable, like this satellite dish, and this is there are actually 2 pieces in this, and it just snaps on this little bit right here, and this door opens up. Now there was a little console in here with seats. That is no longer here.
It didn't survive.
That did not survive, of course. But now one of the cool things about the Falcon is that this, there's a sticker that just came off. I guess that's what happens when it's 40-something years old. But anyway, so the lid comes off. And inside,
There's the game table and all the
game
seating.
table, yep, here. The game table is here. And the bench seating. And now, if you remember in the movie, Star Wars, Episode 4, okay, which was the original Star Wars in 1977, they actually hid Han and Leia, and they hid in the Millennium Falcon under a cargo, what they called a cargo area. And that's this area right here. If I can get this turned, that's this area right here. You probably can't see it very well, but there was a piece that covered that, and like the floor. So that was part of the floor, and then you could put a couple of figures in there, and then put the, I guess, kind of the lid on. And of course, it's faded and all this, but over here on the side, it had a button, and you could open that up right there and put some batteries in there, and you push this little button, and it would bzz, bzz, bzz. So cool stuff right there. Like I said, I got that for my 5th birthday, and we made a lot of Kessel runs in this thing
I'll
right
bet.
here. And I have to credit my mom, because without her, this would have bit the bullet, or bit the dust, I should say, a long, long time ago. And I've also got some figures here, and I know you can't see them very well.
They've been on board the Millennium Falcon.
They have. These are my original figures. This is Han Solo and Chewie here. I got these the Christmas before I got this. So now I was only a year old when Star Wars came out. So I got these toys when The Empire Strikes Back came out. Okay, and that was in 1980. And so I got these toys there. This is Luke Skywalker in his Bespin get up here when he went to go finish his training, or start his training there with Jedi Master Yoda here. Now he had a shawl and he had a orange snake that went around him. Those have gone by the wayside many, many years ago. Most people that are Star Wars fans, you know what this is. Original C-3PO and an R2-D2 here. And which I do have a life-size R2-D2 in the control room of the studio. Maybe I'll wheel him out someday. But these are original figures. And then, of course, the most menacing of all, Darth Vader here. And for anybody that had these figurines, and I know you can't see it very well on from this camera angle, but they had these little slide-out mechanisms in their arm, and you push this slide out, and it extended a lightsaber.
Yes.
Now, those pieces obviously are also gone, and I think we probably lost them. I probably lost them the first week I had them. But what we did do is we took toothpicks, and we would color them red and stick them in Darth Vader, and then we would do the same thing with Luke, and he would have a blue one.
That's good.
So anyway, so there's a little bit of my my childhood history there with original Star Wars toys, and I've got a whole office full of that stuff. And who knows, maybe we'll get some of that stuff out later. But Jamie, you brought some stuff, and one of the things that I love is I want you to get this Evel Knievel set up. Now, Jamie, he's a little bit older than me, of course, so his toys are just a little bit older. But this is some cool stuff he's got right here with this Evel Knievel setup. And I'll let you kind of explain. I remember these. My uncle had one of these, and we played. If you can scoot it back just a little bit towards you.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. And then so you can kind of explain.
Now, my buddy Win Caudell has one of these things, an original one in pristine condition. He can still jump it and has some YouTube video of him doing so
Wow.
at his house.
Okay.
But now, I played with this thing, and I played hard with it. I mean, it didn't survive. I mean, it's just lucky to even still be here. But and most of its more recent damage and rust and things like that came from being stored for a long, long time and getting water damage in a place outside. And we can go more into my camper story one of these days. But anyway, that's one of the things that I absolutely loved. I was crazy about watching Evel Knievel on the Wide World of Sports on Saturdays.
Yep.
Whenever it would come on, if Evel Knievel was on there, or if the Harlem Globetrotters were on there, I wanted to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you never knew what was going to happen with Evel Knievel. I mean, we had 3 channels if we could get all those at the time, and that was some of the wildest stuff I'd ever seen. And immediately, it made all of us want to go out and set up a ramp in the backyard and
Of course.
and
Of
jump our
course.
Schwinn Stingray into something, and break spokes and things like that. But
Sure.
I mean, I would just marvel. And my dad kind of liked to watch it too at the time, because Evel rode a Harley.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't hear a whole lot about Harley. Of course, at that time, they were made by AMF. They were owned by AMF,
Mhm.
AMF Harley-Davidson. And Evel only rode Harley-Davidsons. And my dad thought that was cool because he liked Harleys and had ridden them in his youth, ridden Indian motorcycles as well. But that's kind of how I got on to Evel. And when this came out, I thought that's one of the coolest things ever. So somehow, I may have gotten this for Christmas. I don't remember exactly, but I just absolutely played.
Tell everybody kind of how it works. I remember how it works.
Yeah, you have to. The motorcycle itself has a couple of steel, or had a couple of pins back here near the wheel, and you set it up on the ramp on the charger, I guess, for lack of a better term to call this. And you manually crank this thing, and there's a gear that spins the rear wheel on the motorcycle to get it going
fast as you could
as
get
fast
it.
as
Right.
you could absolutely get it to go without breaking this thing.
Right.
And then I don't know whether there was.
It was a release lever. There had to be a release.
I'm not sure exactly what there was. I'm not seeing a lever on this to let it go right now, but there may be a certain point where if you stopped it, it took off.
I got you.
I'm not really sure. Don't remember exactly how that worked, and this one's not functional enough now to do that. But yeah, I mean, this thing would take off, and more often than not, ride a wheelie down the floor, because it was going crazy fast, and you could set up a ramp and just see how many Matchbox cars you could clear, whatever, in the yard, jump the dog if he'll lay still long enough, whatever you got. But yeah, it's that was one of my favorite toys when I was growing up, and of course it was mid to late 70s, and it was all the rage. I also had one of those, and some of this stuff that came off of TV. You want what you see on TV. They had this, and of course, Evel Knievel was a marketing guy too. He knew he could sell this stuff and sell him, so this is how he made a lot of his money too, and we all just bought it up like crazy. But I had some things like other things from TV, because I didn't get to go to the movies a lot, so I was a TV fan. I had one of those $6 Million Man dolls at one time.
That was awesome.
I tried to find that today, actually, but I couldn't lay hands on it. But
Well,
yeah,
maybe that'll be something for another day.
Maybe.
The $6 Million Man. So
Yep.
that's a cool piece right there, man. I remember a lot. I would dare to say, pretty much every young boy your age during that time period either had one of those or wanted one of those.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's pretty impressive stuff right there. So, like I said, man, who knows? We might get some more stuff out of of our closets and off the shelf here in future episodes. And we just had somebody comment on Facebook. How much for the Falcon? He says. Yeah, well, of course, this if somebody's collecting it, I don't know that you want this one. I mean, there's still dirt inside it where we had this thing.
Oh, that's all my stuff too. Everything.
Right.
I mean, it's been used and
And
played with.
I see these people that have I've still got mine in the original box. I've never opened it. Well, you're a dork. We played with our stuff,
Yes,
man.
I mean, it was coming out of the box and getting used if it came home.
And like I said, I credit my mom, because if it hadn't been for her, man, this stuff would have just been left buried in the backyard. And, not only my Star Wars stuff, but Hot Wheels and all my Dukes of Hazzard stuff. I've got all that stuff. And like I said, we might get that stuff out in future episodes.
If our parents had known how much these things were going to be worth at the
no
time,
doubt about it.
they might have invested in a second one to
Exactly.
put up.
Exactly.
But my parents had no idea
Well, of
that
course
things
not.
like this would be valuable
course not.
anymore,
And Santa Claus brought me these things.
Yeah.
And like I said, this one was a birthday gift, and it's not like we just could go to the store on a random Tuesday. I want this. Okay, well here.
Right.
That didn't happen.
That would have been a great birthday or Christmas for me too.
Let me tell you something, man. I'm telling you, I remember this birthday party. It was on Friday the 13th. I remember that. On Friday, I had all my buddies over. We had pizza, cake, and ice cream. My mom made birthday cakes back during that time. She made and sold birthday cakes.
Yeah.
And she did that on the side. And so I had the greatest birthday cake ever. Big Star Wars birthday cake.
That sounds cool.
And so we had the pizza. Well, first of all, at 7 o'clock, we didn't do anything but watch the Dukes of Hazzard. Okay. Well, the first thing
Incredible
was Incredible
Hulk.
Hulk.
Yes.
The Incredible Hulk came on first.
You had to watch
that was
that
right.
first.
So 7 o'clock was the Incredible Hulk. Then 8 o'clock, the Dukes of Hazzard came on, and we watched that episode. And then, man, 1980, 81, you're watching Incredible Hulk, Dukes of Hazzard. You got the freaking Millennium Falcon, man. You got
What
pizza
more could
and
you
cake.
want?
It's the greatest day ever.
Oh, that would have been just awesome.
So anyway, and I'll credit my mom for all that, because she put all that stuff together, and here I am, 47 years old now, still, I still think about it. It's still one of the greatest days ever.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I have memories like that, and I didn't get, like I said, I didn't get to go to the movies a whole lot. My parents were Depression era folks, and they just didn't do a lot of things like that. There's nothing I could beg into a movie every once in a while, but it was a great once in a while. So we watched a lot of TV and did some things that weren't really expensive, but
Well, I
but
think
yeah,
I
they,
think,
you know,
I think a lot of people were in that same boat. It's not like it is now. We spoil our kids rotten,
Yeah.
because a lot of times we can. But anyway, we could sit here and talk about this stuff for all day. We've actually gone a little bit over. We're starting to get pretty pumped up about our old toys, Jamie. So we got to back it off a notch.
yeah, we could talk about that stuff all day.
So let's go on to the next segment, and it's National Whatever Day, and we got all kinds of. You were mentioning some pretty interesting things to me, so what do we have here?
July 28th, Friday, July 28th is, among other things, World Conservation Day.
Okay, well, so
So
let's
the-
conserve
That's understandable, I
as
guess.
we crank the AC up
Yes.
with the million heat index.
Just drink out of something besides plastic while you're doing
Right. Okay.
it. It's World Hepatitis Day, July 28th.
So are we celebrating?
Just awareness, perhaps. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I can go. I mean, I guess I can go with that. How do you?
The people in the picture here seem very happy about it. I don't know, but definitely, I don't think you want hepatitis of any
No.
sort. But be aware that it's out there.
Okay. Good to know. What else?
Something we can use today, or we could use if we were at one, is it's National Water Park Day.
Oh, yeah.
Break-
Okay.
break that wide open.
That's great.
It's also National Get Gnarly Day.
Okay.
Gnarly dude. Yeah, that's correct. That's what you thought I said.
Okay.
Doesn't have to mean bad or something that's bad or whatever. It can mean kind of cool,
Okay.
like riding a
like
wave,
awesome,
surfing. Awesome.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's also National Talk in an Elevator Day, Darren. Now, we can't do that here, obviously, but
What?
if you're in an elevator somewhere today, feel free to talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
I don't know the reason behind that, but I guess.
A lot of ups
what
and
they got.
downs in the elevator business.
Buffalo Soldiers Day, which is they're a group formed by one of the first regular Army regiments, I think, that was comprised of African American soldiers
Oh, a little history,
back around the period of time right after the Civil War.
little history nod there.
It's also National Milk Chocolate Day, which I certainly support.
Especially with this heat index, we'll be drinking it.
Yes, we want to get it somewhere where it's been in the freezer.
Yeah, if you've ever left chocolate in a car, I bet you've only done it once.
yes. And it's National System Administrator Appreciation Day.
System Administrator Appreciation
Would
Day.
that be Granville for us? Would he be our system administrator?
Granville? Let's see. I guess he would, system administrator. He administers some of our systems. So
So National System Administrator.
thank you, Granville, for all that you do for the Evanston Voice.
Thank you, Granville.
So that's a lot of national whatever days. Was there any world days in that, or were they all
Not-
national?
I think they're just all national. Oh,
Okay.
well, World Conservation Day
World
was,
Con- okay.
and World Hepatitis Day.
I'm sorry. I know that sounds terrible to laugh at, but if it's awareness, that makes sense.
I'm
I
sure
would
that's what it's supposed to be.
just assume they would put the word awareness in there. but
But that's what
anyway.
you think.
Just be aware that there's hepatitis out there.
I'm sure there's a World Diarrhea Day.
Sure
So
there
be
is.
aware of that too. I don't know when that is, but I'm sure if you have that, you're aware.
Well, somebody needs to be spreading diarrhea awareness, not diarrhea, but diarrhea awareness.
The more
It's a big
awareness you
difference.
have,
Hopefully, the less you'll have.
correct.
So, okay. We've only got about 5 minutes left
Be aware.
on the show today. So we're going to do my favorite segment. This is beginning to catch on with all the kids watching at home.
You crazy kids.
It is dramatic lyric reading with Jamie Carnes. Jamie, what song will we be experiencing today?
This comes from back around the same period of time we were just discussing, the time of your 5th birthday party in that era. It comes from a work known as The Game by a group This little, rarely heard of group named Queen. And this song is Another One Bites the Dust.
What's that?
Steve walks warily down the street with the brim pulled way down low. Ain't no sound but the sound of his feet. Machine guns ready to go. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Are you hanging on the edge of your seat? Out of the doorway the bullets rip to the sound of the beat. How do you think I'm going to get along without you when you're gone? You took me for everything that I had and kicked me out on my own. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? How long can you stand the heat? Out of the doorway, the bullets rip to the sound of the beat. Look out. There are plenty of ways you can hurt a man and bring him to the ground. You can beat him, you can cheat him, you can treat him bad and leave him when he's down. But I'm ready. Yes, I'm ready for you. I'm standing on my own 2 feet. Out of the doorway, the bullets rip, repeating to the sound of the beat. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, I'm gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust.
Yeah. Yeah. Jamie Carnes with dramatic lyric reading. Another one bites the dust. You know, that's actually a really good way for people to understand the lyrics.
Yeah, they are hard to decipher sometimes.
You know, so
Depends on who's singing it.
and reading them in such a dramatic fashion, I got a little bit more appreciation for Another One Bites the Dust.
Yeah, it's hard to catch. Some of it is, but yeah.
Had a family member for many years thought that they were saying Another One Bites the Duster.
The Duster,
The Duster,
the Plymouth Duster.
I guess. And then at one point he also thought it was Another One Bites the Doctor. So, yeah,
Well-
I've got some really dumb people in my family, just in case you didn't know.
I tried to figure out for years what doctor. Here's the
Give me the
news. I got a
news.
bad case of loving you. I tried to figure out for years what that was about.
Maybe we'll have a dramatic lyric reading on that.
Maybe
song
that's a good
somehow.
idea.
But I like your idea for a dramatic lip reading for the next time, and we won't talk about it. Just
Yes.
be a little sneak peek. It'll be a surprise. But
Yes.
well, Jamie, we've come to the end of another show.
Imagine that. Doesn't
They
seem like it's been long enough to wind
They,
things up.
Well, they come and go pretty quickly. Seems like when we're acting a fool, talking about
We
toys,
do that pretty
and
well.
whatever. And hey, you know it's just around the corner. It's going to be football season, and you mentioned Granville. Granville and Scott are going to be returning.
Yeah, not long at all. for that.
August the 17th is the first football game, and so we'll be carrying that on the Edmondson Voice, streaming that live on both platforms, YouTube and Facebook. So
Don't forget, Back to School Bash is
Yes.
coming up on Thursday, August 3rd. That'll be out at the high school.
that's next Thursday.
Yes. And
Got some free stuff to give away, you know, for people that are coming out to Back to School Bash.
Great.
You know, so that's some good stuff, and folks out at Family Resource and Youth Service always do a great job putting that stuff together.
yeah, and we're happy to host a lot of folks that are coming out and providing things for the people that show up to the Back to School Bash. Be lots of neat things for you out there if you want to come for a while and join us. Be
Very
happy
good.
to see you.
Very good. Hey, make sure that you check us out on Twitter. Jamie's Twitter at JOscar Jr. You can tweet at the Edmondson Voice, at Edmondson Voice. Of course, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
All the things.
All the things, you know. Call the
Instagram.
office.
We have an Instagram.
We
too,
do
right?
have. We're on Instagram. We don't really do a lot of Instagram stuff. We should. And hopefully we're going to be working on that a little bit.
We should do some TikTok.
You know what? I this is for another day, but I thought about doing a TikTok, but I just didn't want the Chinese knowing all my stuff. And so I just, you know, It's just not for me,
Right.
you know. So anyway, there's that. Of course, you can visit evanstonvoice.com, Evanston County's #1 source for local news and info since 2014. That brings us to the end of the Friday Show, episode 4. Happy Friday, everybody. Enjoy your day. Stay cool, stay hydrated. Jamie, thanks again.
Thank you, Darren. Appreciate everybody tuning in and watching whenever you might be doing that.
All right. We'll see you next Thursday, next Friday. Who knows? But we'll see you sometime down the road. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time.